High FM, 101.9 megahertz of life.
Once upon a time, the biggest distraction in the office was, a person who kept reheating fish in the microwave. I don't know. But today, it actually might be a golden retriever wandering over to your desk looking for your attention, or to throw something. Take your dog to work day. It's become a global workplace phenomenon, reflecting a broader shift in how we think about work, well-being, office culture. Some supporters say that dogs reduce stress. I don't know, if I had to bring mine to work, it would be very stressful. Critics argue that they're distracting. They trigger allergies, they create safety concerns, and that they should rather be excluded rather than included. So, is bringing your dog to work a genuinely good thing? Is it good for business, or is it just another workplace trend that sounds better than it is? Joining us now is industrial psychologist Dr. Elana Siew. A very, very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. Before we get into dogs themselves, why has workplace culture changed so dramatically over the years? I mean, I was thinking we could have never had this conversation 20 years ago.
So you're absolutely right. Good morning. I think that what has happened over time is we've had a general movement towards greater mental health. Looking after ourselves, increasing things such as gym and me time, almost as if we reached a point of break and now we're retracting and saying, what about me? What about our families? So to a large extent, that's where the dog comes in. In time with that, we've also you've spoken about dogs being therapeutic in the past, and to a large extent, dogs do calm people down. If it's your dog, if you're okay with dogs, you're not terrified, there is a calming about them. You know, lots of dogs being brought into children's wards and hospitals and proving themselves to have therapeutic qualities. So there has been an overall shift in change. There's been an overall shift in changing the status quo to what can we do better? How can we make our employees happier? Not just more productive, but happier.
So that's what I was wondering. I mean, there's little doubt that it will make people happier. It'll make most people, a little bit more relaxed. And I imagine that even if somebody doesn't really respond to dogs, then it's pretty neutral. They can carry on doing their work and ignore what's going on. But does it actually help with productivity? Or is that not what the focus is here?
So the focus is to help with productivity, but I think that there's a broader scope. There's a broader scope in terms of the organizational culture, being open, caring for the employees. Where productivity, we don't really have official South African statistics, but we do have international statistics where there are organizations who say productivity goes up by almost 40%.
Wow.
And again, I question, how is that measured? If you're playing with your dog or concerned about your dog or everyone's around you, how does that make you work better? But those are the statistics that come out, that people are more engaged, people aren't running around to have coffee as much. People say that they would rather come to work if their dog is there rather than go through the trauma of leaving them at home. So on an international scale, this is seen to be a very, very positive trend.
So
South Africa,
it's
slower.
South Africa?
It's slower. It's a lot slower. We've got a lot of the organizations such as Woodrock or Four Paws who are trying to push this.
Yeah. But are South African employers still taking time to adopt it, or and is that for a reason? Is it a cultural thing for South Africans? Is it a fear-based thing? What do you think that is?
So I think that the small to medium-sized South African employers are trying to push it. I think that their environments are far more conducive to it. If you take one of the big corporates, in one of the big corporate buildings where they don't have a lot of grass area or it's more congested in the office structure, how are you going to do this logistically? You know, if you've got someone who's scared or someone who's allergic, how does that work logistically? Whereas the smaller companies, you can sit and have the conversation. Are we all happy to bring dogs? Is there someone who's scared? You know, something like you mentioned, the golden retriever. People tend to be less afraid of certain dogs, like a golden retriever, rather than if you bring a Rottweiler to work, you're going to have a reaction.
Right. What I find maybe a bit concerning, and I'm playing a bit of the devil's advocate because I happen to love dogs, but
Yes.
what I do find is that there is a bit of an intolerance from dog people when it comes to other people and their dogs. So I can, just for example, sitting at a coffee shop with a friend, maybe, you know, I'm interested actually in chatting to my friend. I really don't want somebody else's dog slobbering over me and causing chaos and fighting with another dog at that coffee shop. But if you dare to say anything about it, you become the Grinch, you become the evil person, even if actually you do happen to like dogs. You just don't want a dog, somebody else's dog, all over you while you're having a coffee with your friend. So I worry that there's an enormous amount of pressure and becoming more and more pressure on people who actually simply want to go to a place to work or want to go to a coffee shop to have coffee, rather than to pretend that they're happy about somebody else's dog drooling on their knee.
Yeah. Well, what you're saying is it ties into just our human need to be acquiescent and not to engage in conflict. So someone's dog comes running over to you, especially when it's your colleague. You sit next to this person every day, and you don't want to say to the dog, "Get away from me." But that is how you're feeling. And you do want to say to the dog, "Get away from me."
Absolutely.
And then you sit and think, "I hope they don't bring them back again." It can be a deep source of conflict, a deep source of resentment. You know, even on a basic level, you can bring your dog, but I can't bring my cat.
Right. Exactly.
And it has moved from pet day to dog day.
That's
certainly
interesting.
There was at one point.
Right.
So,
because people don't understand that your tarantula is actually quite friendly.
Exactly right. There are resentments. There are definitely resentments behind the scenes.
Yeah. Listen. At least it's one day a year. So if anybody doesn't like that, then I guess that one day they can they'll cope. It maybe teaches a little bit of resilience as well. But I do find it very, very interesting. And do you see it becoming, as you say, there are a number of organizations pushing for it. Do you see that this becoming a bigger trend here in South Africa?
I do see it becoming a bigger trend because there are absolutely advantages. No doubt there are advantages. People look forward to it. People get excited to show off something that's personal but very, very close to them. So I do think it will be a trend. What I do think is going to happen is there will be the pre-day engagement. How are you feeling about this?
Right.
Where can dogs go? Maybe have designated areas to try and facilitate those who are not really excited about this.
And that absolutely makes sense. And that is where we do need to leave it. Dr. Elana Siew, industrial psychologist, thank you as always.